Hey everyone, this video is for a beginner artist that is looking to start oil painting, highly passionate about it, but doesn't know where to start and is on a budget. So if that's you, keep watching. Alright, so a little backstory on me. I learned how to oil paint 4 years ago and had no idea what it was. Well, I knew what it was, but I really didn't know anything about it. I just thought that the paints dried super slow. That was the myth that I had. They never dried and they were more expensive and it was more difficult and old-fashioned. Little did I know that I would fall in love with the medium and would catch on really quickly and not even consider painting in acrylic anymore because I loved it so much. I want to show you the products that I use and what I use on a daily basis. They're not expensive. I use basically like mid-level, but I'm going to list to you all of the cheapest ones that you can buy if you're just trying to start and see if you even like it before you make such a strong investment in the medium and in painting, because it can get very expensive very quickly. So to start out, I'm just gonna name my products that I think are gonna help you the most and are gonna make you the most successful in what you wanna do and will be the best for you to start with. First thing, canvas. Find what you're gonna paint on. These canvases are super cheap. These are artist Loft. These are very affordable, but you can honestly paint on anything. I'm painting on what's behind me. I painted on that old mirror that I had, and I really like painting on glass and wood board. So if you're painting on any of those two surfaces, you're going to need, along with this, you're going to need gesso. But if you already have a pre-gessoed canvas, then you're fine. And if you don't know what gesso is, it basically is just like primer, and it goes on the canvas first so that it's all protected and you have a nice, fresh, clean canvas or whatever board you're painting on to start fresh on. The next thing that I would recommend getting after the gesso is a medium. What is medium? I was confused at this at first. I had no idea. Like, I was just so confused. I didn't know what it meant or what they were used for or anything whenever I learned in college. But my easiest analogy that I do is imagine this is just like water. Which is the opposite because it's like oil based, but you can't mix water with oil because they don't mix. So you have to use a medium. And this one is probably this is probably the biggest investment that you will make. I think this was like $13 for a big thing, $13 to $15. But you can get the smaller ones to start, like this one, that are like around $8. This is Winsor and Newton. By the way, I'm gonna put all of the information in the description with a list and a link for you to purchase or check them out further, and to like compare pricing. But this is Liquin Original. And basically the more liquid that you add to the paint, the more glossy it's going to be and the more loose it'll be for you to paint. Because if you just initially start painting with oil, you put it on the canvas and move it over, there's drag and it's very clumpy and rigid. But once you invest in this, start using Liquin Original. Don't get into any of the other ones. This speeds up drying and improves the gloss of the paint. And it's just going to be the easiest one to use to start. This is kind of the basic one that we had in my college painting class. But you can also get, if you're interested, this is the one that I painted for a long time, Fine Detail Liquin. I actually painted full paintings with this. It's a lot runnier and it allows you, like the name says, just to get into the fine details of whatever you're working on. It sounds, whenever I initially started painting, I thought it was confusing, but there's just a lot of different mediums for whatever type of texture or whatever type of gloss or matte or whatever finish that you really want your paint to have. There's a lot of options, which can make it confusing, but if you start with one and kind of get used to it, you can start exploring more options. That's what I've noticed has been the most helpful for me. This is optional, is a gloss varnish. I didn't start using gloss varnishes till recently. I just left them. The oil paint that I have dries kind of mixed and opaque because I have different brands and different shades. So if you get a gloss varnish, this will seal it, it'll protect it, UV protection, I think this one has, and it just basically seals it all up and makes it look glossy, new, and fresh, and it brings the vibrancy back into the colors by applying a nice finish on them. You can buy different finishes, but this is a gloss varnish. The next thing, this is a little trinket, but I got this for free. It's just a little container that I hold my medium in. And the reason that I recommend this, or there's a couple more options that you can have. There's these little things. I'll zoom up on these, but basically you can hold 2 different mediums in it and seal it off so that it doesn't dry up on you. Now I just use this little guy because it's free standing and I don't use my palette anymore, which leads me to my next thing that I would recommend. I've been using palette paper. I think that it's super easy to after a session, just tear a sheet off and begin again on a new fresh sheet. These are just like waxed paper that you can dispose of. Probably not the most environmentally friendly one, but I love it because it's just easy cleanup. I'm lazy at cleaning my brushes and also at cleaning my palette, so this is easy for me, and I like to just have my palette and then I have my medium right here, which has been Liquin original, but you can have 2 of them, or honestly whatever you prefer. You just have to try it out. So I'd recommend getting some palette paper. Originally in school, I had used my palette. This has plastic wrap to protect the paint, but it's just a wooden palette that I put a lacquer of, I think it was polyurethane on it, just so that it was easy to clean up. But I've gotten lazy with this one and cleaning it off, so I've been using palette paper and it's just been a lot easier. On to brushes. Brushes are tricky because you can get them there's very pricey ones and then there's the more cheap, affordable ones. I go through brushes probably every 2 to 3 months because I just ruin them because either I won't wash them all the way, I won't clean them or soak them, and it's just laziness again. But I'll go through those like value packs that have the smooth bristles, like they're totally, they're good brushes, but they're not the high quality ones that are gonna last. So honestly, I would recommend getting like a value pack for like $8 at Michael's, trying out which brushes you use, and then if you do use like a particular type of brush more, then go back and get the more expensive version that's gonna last longer. But to clean your brushes with, I'm using Dawn soap. It's really harsh on oil but gentle, and it doesn't ruin my brushes. Brush cleaner, I also have brush cleaner, but I don't use it that much. It's just to soak your brushes in. This is Winsor & Newton. Along with, if you'd like a conditioner, this is the Masters brush cleaner. Basically, after you wash them, you can put them through like a conditioner, so your bristles will stay nice and soft. Obviously, I've used all of this, so I need to get more of it, but this comes in like a little pack with a soap and this conditioner. So I can put the link to that below too, because that's also a good option just to try out what you like to clean your brushes with. You can use a cup to clean your brushes. I've just bought this for Christmas. I got this. It's like a brush cleaner. I'll zoom up on how I clean them, but basically it holds your brushes here, because I'd always just set my brushes down and get it on. Well, you've seen I paint on my bed sometimes. I will just set them down and then they'll like fall off and ruin my comforter or my carpet or whatever. But there's a nice little thing you can put your brushes in. There's space to clean it. I'm sure that I've had this in like my art classes when I was younger, but I've recently purchased one. It's super good with acrylic paint because you can just wash them really quick. Okay, so now getting into paint, what you're gonna need. So like I said, I would, if you're a beginner, go into the like Artist Loft paints. I think they're around $5 per tube. I'm gonna double check on that, depending on the shade or the size that you get. If you're just starting out, I would recommend getting a titanium white, maybe a Mars black, blue, alizarin, or an ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, and a cadmium yellow, just like your primary colors along with your black and white. Or you can get like a raw umber shade. I know that we started doing underpaintings in college, which basically an underpainting prepares the surface and it makes it a lot easier to figure out like your values and shading and things in a monochromatic way before you go about painting like in your full scale color. But if you only have money for a couple, even if you only have money for one, You can get black, white, and then the monochromatic. So get like an ultramarine blue or a phthalo blue and try doing some monochromatic paintings at first to kind of gauge an idea on what will work for you and if you even like the medium. So this is an extra thing. This is just a box. I keep mine. That's an Amazon box that I keep my paints in. I need to get like a nice container, but I just don't have that right now. So this is an investment that I think every painter should get. It took me 4 years to get this. My professor actually recommended it to me. It's a paint squeezer, and this will save you so much paint. It's actually ridiculous. Like, I love doing it. It's very satisfying because sometimes it's so hard to get the last of the paint out. You can use this on your toothpaste. You can use this on honestly anything that you have, and any tube that you have that's metal. This will get it done. This was about a $10 investment. It's probably going to save me a lot of money. I mean, it's going to save me a lot of money in paint anyhow. So I think it's a good investment to make. I'll put the link to this specific one on Amazon below. So this is optional if you want to paint on an easel or anything. This is a standing easel that you can put on a table. I haven't been painting on an easel for a while because I've been doing larger pieces, so I usually sit in front of them and lean them on a wall like this one right here. I would recommend using a dish towel or a hand towel, probably not a white one, I just grabbed this, but using a towel whenever you're cleaning your brushes or like switching in between mixing, I would use a towel just to, you know, wipe it off, like wipe it in your soapy water, rinse it off, and then dry it off on this little towel. Another thing that I just realized I forgot to mention, I would get palette knives to mix your paint, because if you mix them like myself most of the time, because I'm lazy, that's probably why I go through brushes. It is why I go through brushes so quick, because it gets lodged in the top of the bristles, like near the root of the brush, and it's hard to get out of the brush whenever you're washing it off, especially the oil paint. It's very tough to get out. So that's why it gets lodged in there and it's harder for me to clean. And if I had a palette knife, it allows me to mix a lot more, and it just makes it a lot easier. So I'll put a link to that below because I actually need to buy some more, so I need to look. I think it's important to invest a little bit, but know that there are affordable options and that oil painting you're going to fall in love with. The medium allows you to be a lot more fluid with your movements. I've found I do love acrylic painting. There's just something different about oil painting and the smell of it, and just the whole experience of painting in oil rather than painting in acrylic. Nothing against acrylic, but I hope that you found this helpful. If I forgot anything that you think is very important, comment below, because I'd love to hear that, or love to hear something that maybe I could use that'll make my painting better. I probably forgot something, but these are my honest recommendations. I went to college for art and took painting courses and love them. So I think that it's super important to try it out and see if you like it, and try out different mediums, because you never know. Don't have a preconceived idea of a medium that you end up falling in love with, like myself. And yeah, if you have any recommendations, I might do some basic mixing or basic painting to start out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know in the comments if any of these were helpful.